there, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are talking about how to get the basics right. What I mean by this is, if you're studying for your junior cert or your leaving cert, or even just for your Christmas or your summer exams, and you feel like you can't improve, you're putting in the work but you're not seeing a huge improvement. There might be a few reasons why, and that's why I've made this video, to tell you the secret tips and tricks that you need to know in order to help you to improve when you're studying math. So if you want to know all these tips and tricks from a state examiner and an experienced maths teacher, just keep watching. The first thing I want to talk to you about is the essential items that you need to succeed. Now this might seem a little bit obvious to most of you, but at the same time it needs to be said, because we are trying to find those little things that are stopping you from reaching your full potential. So let's have a look in your pencil case. Have you got a decent pencil? Have you got a sharpener for that pencil? And have you got a decent eraser or rubber to go with it? Let's have a look at that ruler. Can you actually read the measurements that's actually on the ruler? Lots of us, and myself included, I only did a clear out the other day, we all have those rulers that have been lying around in pencil cases for years. Probably with Tipp-Ex on them, probably with chunks and lumps gone out of them, possibly even cracked. Get rid of those and get yourself a lovely fresh ruler that it's easy to use, it's going to be accurate for your drawing, and also you can read the measurements on them. The next piece of equipment you need to make sure you have is your compass, protractor, and also those small set squares that you get in those trigonometry sets. Make sure you have those. Again, make sure they're readable, they're not cracked, they're not covered in Tipp-Ex, and so on. The next thing that you need is your log tables. I cannot stress how important your log tables are. I am always preaching about log tables. Stop using your textbook to find formulas. Go to your log tables and use them every single time. Do not use your textbook from this moment on. What are you going to have in your exams? Your log tables. If you don't know where the quadratic formula is in your log tables on the day of your exam, you're going to cause yourself so much hassle. So from this moment on, don't go near that textbook for your formulas. Use your log tables. The last piece of equipment, and again this is another obvious one, is your calculator. In Ireland we generally use the Casio or a Sharp calculator. I personally prefer the Casio, and that's the one I use. So make sure it's in good condition, it's up to date. If it's starting to act a bit funny, maybe it needs a new battery. So just make sure all those things are up to date and in order before you even attempt to go into a state exam. The next thing I want to talk about is being able to recognize your weaknesses. What I mean by this is, when you get that class test back, or the mocks, or the Christmas test, or the summer test back, maybe you didn't get the mark that you expected and you're a little bit disappointed, maybe you're a bit upset, maybe you're even a little bit embarrassed. And it gets shoved into the back of a folder or shoved into the back of the school bag, and it never sees the light of day ever again. This is where we need to change that. Because what I want you to do is I want you to fish out those old exams, and I want you to be strong enough to be able to recognise the weaknesses that caused that mark to happen. Whether it be that you just simply didn't bother, or maybe you made loads and loads of little mistakes because your concentration wasn't where it should be. Take those class tests or exams and scrutinise them. Don't be afraid to look back over them. If you do regret the amount of effort you put in, well, let's put that behind you now and let's not make that mistake again. Let's not regret not studying enough again. I want you to have a piece of paper, or maybe the back page of your maths copy, or a page that you just keep in the back of your maths book. And I want you to make notes on that page of all the different little things that you made errors in your exams. If you're not really sure how to recognise them, maybe ask your teacher and say, can you point out all the little things that I'm doing wrong? And they will know exactly what they are, and they will be well able to point those out to you. I want you to make a list of these little things, and these are the things you're going to work on. These are the basics that you are now going to start getting right. If you constantly are making errors with negative numbers, go back and start practicing negative numbers. If you are constantly messing up multiplication, practice some multiplication. Go back over different examples and exams and double check and make sure that those aspects of your calculations are now beginning to be correct. Maybe you're constantly subbing into a formula incorrectly because you're simply not reading the question. From now on, instead of reading the question once, read it 3 times. Highlight the important information and stop making those simple mistakes that are jeopardizing you getting the marks that you deserve. Can you imagine if you did that in every single question across paper 1 and paper 2? Can you imagine if you stopped making those errors across paper 1 and paper 2? Can you imagine how much more marks you would have? I can guarantee you get quite a few more. This point leads me on to taking control. So you need to take control of your own learning. Yes, you have a teacher and you've been guided by your teacher, and your teacher gives you deadlines. You've got homework deadlines every day, you probably have assignment deadlines, maybe a certain amount of time to get an exam paper question done, etc. You need to stick to that and you need to continue doing that. But what you need to do as well is you need to manage your own time and take control of your own personal study time. So you know what's coming now. Make a plan. So make a plan. Say you can dedicate 40-minute slot on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday to do some extra maths revision. Well, let's write that down. Let's allocate a time on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and let's plan in advance what you're going to revise on that day. You now have that piece of paper in the back of your maths book where you take notes of your weaknesses and the errors that you're constantly making. That's going to be your plan. You're going to take that piece of information and you're going to use that as your guide to what you need to revise. See? It's all coming together now. Another thing I need to mention here is that you need to understand the process. The marking schemes are actually available. What I need you to know is that there could be 3 or 4 marks in the difference of subbing into a formula correctly and subbing into a formula incorrectly. 3 marks is worth 0.5% when you're looking across the 2 papers. One of the most important things that I want you to take from this video today is that you need to recognize that no matter how much study that you are doing, whether you're the person that can do an hour of math study every evening, or you're the person that can do 40 minutes 3 times a week, or even half an hour 3 times a week, you need to recognize that you are building your knowledge. Some people are building it faster, some people are building it slower. But every effort to revise, every effort to do that extra little bit of work, you are building your knowledge. You know more now than you did last week. And that's what you need to think about, and that's what you need to focus on. If you look at the course as one full unit and you see how much work and how much theory and how much practicing you need to do in that course, it becomes very overwhelming. What I want you to focus on is all the little bits and pieces that you are constantly improving on. Focus on that. I cannot stress enough how these little changes and tips and switches in attitude can really benefit your work in maths. So this is the last thing that I want to talk to you about today. I've given you lots of tips and tricks. They do seem a little bit small and they might not feel like they are relevant, but I can guarantee you that they are. So please implement them. So let me know in the comments if these tips and tricks have benefited you when you are studying and revising your math. Okay, the last thing that we are talking about today is I'm going to give you some very specific information, and I think this is going to be relevant to every single maths student out there. Your algebra chapters are the foundation of your maths course. It is as simple as that. If you cannot do algebra well, you will struggle in most of the other topics that are on your course. If, for example, you are starting some calculus, some differential calculus, you need to learn how to differentiate and all the bits and pieces that go with it and the applications of it. But in amongst all that, your algebra skills are present, and if you're struggling to do basic algebra skills in a differential calculus question, the calculus is going to seem more difficult. What I need you to understand is if you are struggling in general across everything, if every question and every topic seems to be a bit of a chore, it's probably because your algebra skills aren't up to scratch. So now, here's your call to action. Go and start revising your algebra from the first page of the chapter and go the whole way through it and make sure that those skills are perfect. You need to be able to factorize at the drop of the hat. You need to be able to do simultaneous equations at the drop of the hat. You need to be able to solve linear equations, quadratic equations, cubic equations in certain cases. Make sure you can do those. Can you do algebraic division? If that's a no, go back, put it on that list and let it be one of the things you need to revise. I can guarantee you, if you do all the things that I tell you to do in this video, follow all my tips and tricks, I guarantee you your grade will improve. It's as simple as that. I really hope that you found this video helpful. I know it's going to work for you. You just need to implement it yourself, as I've said already. Take control and do what I'm telling you to do. I guarantee you it will help. If you have any further questions, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I will be uploading lots more videos in the coming weeks. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.